certainly resonated with me, and I think will resonate with whoever reads the book. I mean, theoretically, it's targeted toward young people, but I'm assuming. Do you guys have an ideal reader in mind for who this was best suited for?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think broadly, an early middle grade audience. I don't have like a specific person. I mean, there is definitely Jack being having something that is kind of secret that he's afraid his family won't necessarily embrace. I understand there's definitely some like LGBTQ plus themes in there without there actually being some. So I hope some kids that are young and queer find it, because I feel like it's really about like he has something that he's not sure he wants to share with his family. He's kind of keeping aside, and then even though his family's supportive, and then at the end they support him because as we all should.
Right.
Well, I wondered, with you guys both being writers and artists and musicians and having all of these different talents, did you have a feeling at some point that you had to choose and pick just the one thing that you wanted to be, Sam?
That's I didn't even realize that connection. But yeah, I think yeah, I was never really sure what I wanted to be. I always thought I had to sort of like fall back on like a safe choice or the choice that was sort of expected. Like I grew up in a pretty conservative family. Growing up, my dad was like a pastor of like an evangelical church, and part of growing up, there was that sort of unspoken expectation that you have to, grow up and follow that path somehow, like either grow up to be a pastor or do something in the church or whatever. And at some point I kind of like, no, that's not really what I want to do. Um, and in some ways, like going through college, majoring in English and then doing professional writing, it was sort of a compromise where, art may not be like the safe choice. Having an English degree isn't necessarily a safe choice either, but there was a way forward where, I could at least teach freshman and sophomore composition classes, and that's what I do part-time now, is teach at the college level. Like I teach writing, basically just like essay writing and stuff like that. But now that I have support from my spouse and from my in-laws, they're all very supportive and very excited about the book coming out. And I think I found like a good spot to be in, getting to draw comics for kids, and maybe hopefully, creating my own written illustrated comic myself at some point. That's something I'd love to do as well. So I think I finally figured out that sweet spot for me personally.
And Matt, same question to you. Did you feel pressured to choose between your many talents?
Yeah, I don't know about talents, but yeah, I was no pressure ever. My parents were always like, whatever direction you're going, whatever you're interested in, they steered me towards and encouraged. They both like were really encouraging of both me and my brother with art when we were younger. Yeah, they at every point they've been like, just go for it, and I try to do the same for my kids too. I mean, I think that there's like one of the things that happens in Lumberjackula is like the excitement of the parents that ends up putting this pressure on Jack. And I try and combat that in my life, because I know like if my daughter shows interest in, like recently she's like likes drawing manga, I'm like, oh, this is awesome, and I'm like getting everything to get her into it. And like I realize I am putting a pressure on her still, by my level of excitement and how much I'm embracing it. And I should embrace everything, like embrace whatever her interests are. That's just something I'm thinking about a lot recently.
Yeah, that's something I think about too with my kid's a little younger. He's 5, and then we have another who just turned 1. So I'm always thinking about letting them follow the things that are exciting to them, and not trying to pressure them. Like I'm not going to try to pressure my kid into drawing comics or whatever, or specific things. Like I'm not huge into sports, but this year, the past couple of years, he's been doing like t-ball and stuff, and I try to like be encouraging for that, even though that's not necessarily my wheelhouse or whatever. Like I don't know a lot about it, but I try to be supportive and encouraging when he does well, and he seems like he's enjoying it and not just like, you know, like Matt was saying, I try to like be mindful of my reaction to the things that my kids are doing, I guess, hopefully in a constructive way.